There we go. Okay, welcome everyone. We are dealing with module 1.6 today. That is extended software concepts. Okay, the first part of this slide is integrated software. Okay, let me just activate my laser pointer. Okay, we're going to, before we look at our advantages of integrated software, we are going to take a look at what it is. So when a company creates many different types of software, such as word processors, spreadsheet, databases, it makes sense that the programs should be designed to have similar features, okay, or a similar interface. So what does this mean? The things I teach you in Microsoft Word will also be able to be used in Excel and in Access, also in PowerPoint. So you don't have to learn different concepts for each software. A good example of this is the Microsoft Office suite. Okay. This means that someone who uses their word processor will feel comfortable when using their spreadsheet because many of the menus, shortcuts, and dialogues are the same. The separate packages also work together in the sense that they are designed to share and exchange data with each other. So what that means is I will be able to export data from an Excel spreadsheet into a Word document or the other way around. Okay. This type of software design results in what is called integrated software. So common productivity software sold grouped together as a suite of programs. Okay, so let's get there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to first do is I'm going to look at my advantages. Separate packages have a similar interface, so they will look very similar. Separate packages designed to share and exchange data. It can be sold as a suite of programs, so one purchase. You don't have to buy Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access. And a very good example would be Microsoft Office. There you can see all the different features. We've got Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Office, that is Outlook, Access, Publisher, a very nice program if you are interested in designing newsletters, and OneNote, that is also a wonderful program. This, you can create an electronic book for you to write all your notes. You can create a chapter for each subject and different pages for the different topics. Okay. Now we are going to look at licensing agreements. So a license agreement is basically where you agree to the terms and conditions of that software. So, for example, you promise not to give out your product key to all your friends so that they don't have to pay for it, okay? Or you agree not to change anything on it. You will use it as it has been prescribed, okay? So these are actually legally binding contracts between you as the user and the company. These license agreements are often termed EULA, standing for End User License Agreement. Very nice exam question over there. Okay. So let's take a look at a type of license agreement. So one, overview. These license terms permit installation and use of one copy of the software on one device along with other rights, all as described below. They will also explain installation and use rights, licensed device, portable devices, and separation of components. So this is just an example of a license agreement. Okay. So this license is actually, well, okay, I've said that, the legally binding. Proprietary software is purchased from an owner. This software is licensed, so users may only use the software under certain conditions. Okay? They may not change it or distribute it. Even if your best friend begs you for it, you may not distribute it. Later on, we are going to look at some of the categories. Okay, so let us look at software piracy. Okay, this is a big no-no. Okay, so software piracy refers to the illegal installation, copying, and distributing of proprietary software. So that means basically you've taken a movie or you have taken someone's office CD and you installed it as your own. Okay. Most software now requires activating or registering online in an attempt to crack down on software piracy. So as soon as you try to install your software, it is going to say to you to log on to, you can either phone in, there's a telephone number, or you can log into the internet and activate your package. So some of you may have come to me already and said, ma'am, my Office or my Word isn't working anymore. What must I do? And you had just recently bought a new laptop. What happens is you get 28 days to start to try the software, and if you're happy with it, then you will need to buy a new one. So either Office 2019 or Office 2016, or the other option is Office 365. Now, as I've stated on Google Classroom, Microsoft is very kindly offering to all students between the age of 8 and 24 a Mahala license. Okay, so that gives you all the Office features as we saw on the previous slide. You will get Outlook, Access, PowerPoint, all of those types of software for free. Okay, because even before this lockdown, they already saw the importance of students being able to use a computer. Okay. Software piracy is a crime and can result in hefty fines or even jail time. So if you are caught with fake CDs or pirating some software, you can actually do jail time. Okay, so it's not worth the risk. It's not very pleasant. Okay. The next one we're going to look at is single user license. So that means one license, one PC. Okay. So this generally means that you may only install one copy of the software. It will block you if you try and install it again. You can also make usually make one backup copy of the media, CD or DVD, that contain the software. So they allow just one in case something happens to your computer and you will need to reinstall your computer. Okay, now, how is it going to see if I am maybe using my friend's backup copy? Each computer has an IP address, okay, and a MAC address, and these are sent through to Microsoft, and they can see exactly which devices are running that particular license. So it is possible to catch you out. The site license, this is the better option, so that is what we use at school. So can you imagine how expensive it would be if I had to buy for every single computer in all 3 labs the license for each computer? So what I'm going to do is rather I'm going to buy a site license that will cover all the computers on the school's premises. Okay, so it may be restricted or unrestricted number of installations within the company or an organization. It's more expensive than a single license, but it is cheaper than buying a single copy for each computer. It's also referred to as volume licensing. Okay, the next bit. This is quite often an exam question, so I'd like you to pay attention here. So, there are some categories of software that are completely free, which you may install as often as you like, and you may also distribute some of them. There is even a category of software where If you have the programming knowledge to do so, you can change and improve the software itself. That means they give you the source code so that you can make amendments or changes to it. Okay, so let's look at the first one, freeware. Freeware is fully functioning software that can be used and copied without any restrictions. And then the next one is shareware. This is software that can be downloaded for free and used, but only for a trial period, so 28 days or 30 days. So that basically gives you an opportunity to decide, do you like the software or do you rather want to go with something else? Okay. After the trial period is over, they will require you to pay for the full version. The third type of free software that we're going to look at is OSS, open source software. So this software that may be freely used, modified, distributed, but you may not sell it. Okay. So let's take a look at a couple of examples of this. We have the Linux operating system. So the little penguin that you see on the computer, if you have a Linux machine, okay. There is the Office suites. Now remember, I said to you, if you don't have Microsoft Office, I gave you LibreOffice before we closed, and you could also download OpenOffice. So these you are allowed to use for free. Then other free versions, it's not necessarily something that you use every day, but it is used on your cell phone, is the Java programming language. For most of your apps are written in Java. And then MySQL or SQL, as it's correctly pronounced, is a database system. Okay. Okay, so let's carry on looking at open source software. So there are, I just want to quickly go through, I want to see here, source code. So programmers, let's just backtrack here a little bit. Okay. On the open source software, the source code, programmers write programming code to create software. One needs this code to make changes or to fix any bugs or mistakes in the program that may cause it to work improperly at times. So if your system hangs, if you click a certain sequence of buttons or icons, then you will be able to, if you have programming background, to fix this. Generally, you are not given access to this programming code. It remains the property of the developers. With open source software, programming or source code in which the program is written is freely available. Okay, now let's take a look at our disadvantages. So, sorry, my voice is a bit scratchy today. I've been teaching quite a bit. First of all, you have no guarantee of the quality or that it works correctly, okay? I write a program, I put it out on the web, and I see who is interested in it. It's not to say that it's going to work correctly. Often, there could be different versions of the same product. So this is now the problem is, I create a software, and I save it, I get... I put copyright on it, and it is my software. The next person, let's call him John, comes along and he changes it slightly. He is now able to save it as his software because it's not the same. Okay, you see there's a bit of a catch there. And what ends up happening is you get multiple versions of the same type of software that people are creating. If you look on the apps on your phone, say, for example, you could download Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word on your cell phone, or you could use WPS, or you could use, trying to think what's the other ones that I used to use. Well, there's a variety of different software. So that is the problem is you might start with an original item, but very soon, as soon as it becomes popular, there will be other people that are going to try and mimic what you are doing. Okay. Let's get our mouse starting. Then another disadvantage, can generally only get it from the internet. Downloads can use a lot of data and it takes some time. So depending on the speed, your bandwidth, and what speed you are able to download it, it could take a while, especially if it's a big file. It's not as widely used. So you might find one that it only gets a rating of a 2.3 or a 3.4 on your Play Store. Documentation and support may not be easy to access. So if there is a problem, you might struggle to get support to help you out on that. Okay. The next one we're going to look at is copyright. Now, you've heard me speak about plagiarism over and over. Even the school has spoken about plagiarism. You are not allowed to use information from a different source and not say where you got it from. So what is copyright? This is an exam question, so please pay attention here. Copyright refers to the legal right to make copies, publish, and sell. Okay? So then we have intellectual property. Okay? This is a bit more broader. This recognizes the ownership of the person that came up with the original idea. Okay? So Bill Gates is the owner of Microsoft. He came up with the idea of different software for companies to be able to use, to basically type, do sums, create databases, etc. So he owns the intellectual property on that. Then we get to one that's a bit more different, Creative Commons. Now, Creative Commons is a non-profit organization that promotes the sharing and free use of knowledge and products legally. For example, Office Libre, any of those ones. Okay, so let's quickly go through this. They provide a variety of free copyright licenses, which can be customized to suit the person seeking the license. For example, you can specify that the work, for example, a software program, may be freely used, but not for commercial use. So an example of this is Delphi. Now, there are many different versions of Delphi. That's what the IT students use. But there is a free version, but it is covered by Creative Commons. So the Delphi Community Edition students are allowed to use that for their own personal use. But if they're going to make money from it, say they write an app and they are going to use it to generate an income, they have to, first of all, let Delphi know or Embarcadero know, and also they will need to give some of the money which they're making through the app back to Embarcadero, okay? Because the software still belongs to Embarcadero. That's the company that runs Delphi. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Now we are going to look at system software. Now you will hear me speak about application software and system software. System software is the software that your program needs to run the actual system. Okay, so the first two we are going to look at is utility programs. Now there are different utility programs that are written into your operating system, and you don't have to buy it separately. The first one is compression. Let's first explain utility programs. Utilities are used to assist the user to perform maintenance tasks related to managing the computer. Several types of utilities are included with the operating system, but standalone packages can also be purchased separately. So if you've got a greater use, or you've got a specific thing that needs to happen, you will need to buy more features. Okay, let's look at compression software. First one, the most common, WinZip. This is one of those that you will, a shareware that you will get 30 days free, after which you have to buy. one that is completely free that you can use, open source software, is 7-Zip. Okay, so if you are unable to buy WinZip, then you are able to buy 7-Zip, which is an open source software. So let's see, how does compression software work? Okay, so I have my document. I'm writing a book. Okay, on my time, the life and times of a computer teacher in lockdown. Okay, but I have written so much that it's actually starting to become quite big. So I want to make it smaller so it is easier for me to share it. Then what I would do is I would use 7-Zip, and I would zip the program, and it will compress the files, okay, making it smaller so that it is easier to send to other people. Okay, so compressed file will take up less storage. Okay, so before we get to activity 1, you can have multiple folders, and files can also be compressed. So you don't just have to be able to compress a single document. I can actually compress all the data and then send it to you, so that you on your side can then unzip it, which means it is going to pack it out again and make it to its original size. Okay, so you can zip it and unzip it. So zipping makes it smaller, unzipping it will make it, unpack it to its original size. Okay, you will, for homework today, you're going to complete activity 1, compressing files and folders. It is on page 60 on your in your study opportunities textbook. So please go through that. I will include the data for you, but you also have the CD. So please use that if you're trying to save your data. Okay, now I'm going to look at backup utilities. Now, what is a backup? A backup means that I'm saving my data somewhere else in case something happens to my original data. Okay, so backup your files regularly is essential. Why should I do it? Files can be accidentally deleted or overwritten. Okay. Files can become corrupt by not shutting down properly, power failures, or computer viruses. Now, some of you, unfortunately, have experienced this. You saved your work on your flash drive, and you come to school and you say, "Ma'am, my files are gone." Okay, so what could have happened is either it didn't save correctly, or while it was still busy running, you pulled the flash drive out of the computer and the file got corrupted. So you cannot read that file anymore. So remember, it's always important, eject the flash drive correctly before you just remove it. And of course, computer viruses, the most common computer virus is actually ransomware or a malware, where they encrypt your file. So we can still see it, we just can't do anything with it. The only way to get it fixed is we have to pay a large amount of money. But I will still be going through computer crimes with you. Okay, the last is storage devices. Disk drives can fail. I bumped it, I washed it. I've literally actually washed some of my flash drives, including an iPod once, not my finest hour. I thought the iPod had dried out. I put it in the docking station and literally cooked the motherboard. It was a very painful day. So please check your pockets. Flash drives, we quite often stick them into our pockets as we are leaving class. Okay, so the next part we're going to quickly discuss before the end of this lesson. Sorry, I want to backtrack here. I just want to see what they are. No, here we go. I'm just going to go back here. Tips for backing up software. Keep the backups in a safe place, so not on the same computer. So companies are encouraged to make a backup on a server. So we do that at school. We don't save on our PCs, we will save to a server. Then we do regular weekly backups of that server, and I still do backups of your data also to make sure that at all times we have a copy of your work. Another one, it is best to keep at least one backup off-site in case of a disaster such as a fire. So even though you're backing up to a server, if something happened to that server or a fire broke out, or not even something as serious as a fire, a water pipe leaked and went over the server, okay? That is a disaster for a computer, okay? And then what happens? Our data is gone. It should only be necessary to back up your files as you can reinstall software. So you don't have to go and back up your entire machine. All you're going to do is back up your data. That's all your schoolwork, your photos and things like that. Okay, so let's take a look at drives. Okay, so every piece of hardware from a flash drive to a printer is controlled by a driver. Okay, so driver just basically is a fancy word for the software program that enables that device to be able to work on your computer. Okay, let's see there. A driver is software that allows your computer. Here is an exam question, guys. Hint, hint. A driver is a software that allows your computer to communicate with hardware or devices. Okay, so this is the end of this section. You are to complete activity 1 for tomorrow. Make sure that you have summarized this entire section in your books for me, or you can do it electronically. As I said to you previously, OneNote is a fantastic program for you create a tab for each subject, and in each tab you can create a page. So for chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and those pages are as long as you like them to be. So it's a very nice way. It's the way that I've always, for the last couple of years, as soon as I changed my studies over to electronic form. Then by Monday, I would like you to have finished the written module activity. Okay, so all the best to you. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Make sure that you're prepared and let us have a good lesson. Thank you so much for joining. All the best. Bye-bye.